Pretty much. I mean, you could say it's his fault. You know, his passion for it. He was a fan, a jazz fan, and he kind of, you know, brought that into the house. Brought the records and just the enthusiasm for it, and my knowing that he had played drums. I never saw him play, you know, at a gig or something, because it was more of a hobby for him before he met my mom, and just knowing he did kind of, I romanticized about it, I guess, and ooh, maybe I should do it too. But there was a moment when I was listening to a record of his. It was a Dave Brubeck record, Time Further Out, and there's a track on there. It's called Far More Drums. Joe Morello is playing this drum solo, and he did something with the cymbal and kind of somehow bent the sound of it on a cymbal, you know. And that just kind of fascinated me. And I remember that, you know, I really remember that. And the whole solo is, the snares are turned off, so it's all tom-tom, so it's quite melodic. I just got super excited about that. And then, since my dad really liked big band, he had a lot of Count Basie, and God bless him, you know, he had Count Basie. So I played with that. I just played with these records, and every now and then he'd come and he'd sit down. And he was a left-handed guy. So when I got to school and I'm playing left-handed and right foot at the beginning, you know. But I quickly shifted because it wasn't cool to be different, you know. So Phew, wow. First time really behind the kit, maybe, you know, 11, 12, 13, something like that. Something around, I'm not really sure exactly. Okay. But I really started to play drums when I was in junior high school, and from there in high school. I remember really making a conscious decision to be a drummer, a musician, when I was about 16, though. There was a choice between playing baseball for school or keeping the drum lessons going. So I wasn't so competitive. Yeah, again, it's Count Basie, I could say, you know. It's all Basie's fault. Ray Charles loved that band. There's a record, Genius plus Soul equals jazz. And half the band is Basie's band, the other half is New York studio musicians. And just the way that band swings is probably some of the most sophisticated swing out there, sophisticated rhythm out there. So, and Ray is nothing but sophistication, you know. It's incredible with the nuance and the level of understanding of, in a rhythmic sense. It's really phenomenal, you know. I often use the image of, let's say, inside maybe a couple of bars, you've got, like in a watch, you have different gear sizes. You know, small gears and bigger gears moving at different speeds. And those are like subdivisions, and they're all living at the same time, keeping time. So it's not just, you know, you have this one particular pulse and then this particular subdivision. It's not so simple like that at all. It's quite complex. It's really incredible. So I think that's why it felt right to me, you know, fitting in there, because it was swinging that way, had that kind of slick swing to it.
So back to your father.
Kind of back to Dad. I really, you know, I wish he was around now I mean, he died maybe about 9 years ago almost, and I miss him a lot, and I wish he was always supportive, you know, always super supportive for me. You know, him and my mom, you know, I feel very blessed that, you know, it wasn't like, no, you have to do this. There was no resistance. It was, if you want to do this, go practice, which was not my forte at the time, you know. Okay, so swing wasn't such an issue because at such an early age, I just absorbed it, so it was natural for me. So that wasn't quite an issue of execution, you know, to play. That was easy, finding a pocket and swinging. But if I was trying to play a pocket like in a funk beat, or let's say a rock and roll beat, or something, I know now what I was doing. Then I had no idea, but I was trying to place the beats with all control of, like, okay, tension, and I put it there, and there's constant tension. I'm putting things here, I'm putting things there, I'm putting things there. It was the hardest thing to figure out, because I've seen Elvin Jones play this way, or Art Blakey, or even something like my comrades in arms, you know, Brian Blade. He's got this, excuse me, a certain sort of fluidity and throwdown and gravity and connection to the playing of this instrument, which I only had in a certain sort of play, but I could see it in everything they did, you know. It was just the way they hit the drum. And I felt like, well, Billy Higgins has it, you know, and I thought, it's just a gift that you have. And there is something to it, a certain sort of, you know, appreciation for it as a gift. But it's something that I found was having to do with the weight and gravity of my body. So forever I'm seeing it, like a friend of mine is clapping his hands, and it's like, you know, trees colliding, and there it is again, and there it is again. So, and I'm trying to figure it out, and finally I see this video of Tony giving a clinic in Texas, and he asked the question to the folks. He said, "What's the hardest thing about playing drums?" And he says, "It's picking up the stick, because you're fighting gravity." He said, "Coming down is a ride. It's easy." So something clicked. So I chased that, you know, trying to lift up the arm and let it fall down, you know, which is not easy to do, especially after, let's say, 20 years of playing. So my focus of the beat and everything was quite upper body type of thing, you know. So basically what I discovered was realizing the weight, the mass of my limbs in the act of playing drums. And I see it very clearly now that I've spent 20 years really investigating it, you know, really, it changed everything for me. It changed my articulation, it changed my sound drastically, it changed my balance, it changed every aspect of my playing in a way. And I don't only play that way, but it's a foundational thing for me, you know. And I see it looking at videos of older cats playing. I said, wow, man, okay, yeah, I see it. Whereas before, since I didn't know it, I couldn't identify it, you know, so much. So I always say, you know, there's really no like golden phrase or trick, or if you do this and you do this and you're going to play well. This is maybe an exception to that. If one can go through this experience and get this sort of empirical knowledge, it really does have an amazing effect on everything you do when you play. It's a fantastic group. I love it. I think, you know, if I play a cover, if I'm playing a cover is not just because it's going to be cool. It's that you hear something on that tune, and so that's why something else maybe which you'd like to, like, I have a list of dream tunes I'd like to play, you know, and most of them won't make it because it would mean maybe I had to sing or something like that, and that's not, we don't want that to happen really. But it would be great, you know, it's just the spirit of it, like some Tom Petty tune, or, you know, a bunch of stuff. I like a variety of stuff. So, but basically with that Hanging Tree, I mean, I came up with this thing that's in five, a certain shape of meter, and it's also in the tune, but I had something else to add to it, and then the thought of having Lionel Loueke, who's a guitarist from Benin, who is just, he's not exclusively from Benin. I think he's from our entire globe in a way, you know. So to pull out his Hendrix influence and have Miguel Zenon be an added force too, it just seemed like it would work, and it really kind of did work, you know. Yeah. I think it was working, but to have a bass thundering in there would be another thing, which would be probably fulfilling the tune itself, you know. But because of that particular group, you know, with Lionel and with Miguel, it's a very, what can you say, like, we're very aware of rhythm, you know, and that commonality is almost like a fourth member in the band. We all play with the sense of rhythm, which has an intelligence of its own, in a sense, you know. It has its own logic that if you understand it, especially someone that's coming from Benin, someone that's coming from Puerto Rico who knows so much about it, and my big love of it. So I think there's sensibilities and you know, an intelligence that speaks inside this complexities of rhythms, you know. So that's another member in the band, you know. So we could do something like that, or you know, whatever, almost whatever. I think one thing that really I was very happy about with that particular recording was, here was a guy from Benin, and here's a guy from Puerto Rico, and we're playing a Gershwin tune, you know, a Gershwin ballad, and they killed it, you know. That's great, you know. That's like, okay, global village. Yeah, but it's not always equal, not like playing, you know. I had to figure it out in a way, because when I would teach before, it was a seminar for a week or a master class, and I just give 150%, whatever you wanted to talk about, whatever it is, let's just go full bore, and by the end of the week, you know, I'll see you later. But here it is, where I'm with guys for like 5 years, which is totally brand new, you know, for me. And having a curriculum helped me kind of regulate that energy of information, like sharing this information and trying to talk about this stuff. That helped, but what comes back, definitely, it does come back at times, but it's not. It's quite tiring, I gotta say. You know, I like it. That's another fact. I do sincerely like it, and I love talking about it. I'm learning what not to talk about. You know, yeah. So I took it as, first, I'm happy I have the job. Two, you know, that happy because I can also say no to things I don't want to do specifically. You know, but two is this music is, and the older I get, the more important it becomes to me. You know, I realize its importance. You know, its seriousness, and I want to convey that to my students. You know, so if we're going to have lessons, okay, it's serious. If we're not, it's not just superficial technical aspects and things like that. It goes to kind of these fundamental facts of how to play, the fundamental techniques. But often I'm finding in this kind of weird environment for learning this music, that the institution as an environment is not the best to learn this music, because it feeds you a bunch of distraction. Mm-hmm. You know, if I do this and I do that, then I am right. And it's not really quite so clean cut about that. You know, it's not so formulaic, and it's so hard to kind of talk about. So I'm learning how to try to relate this stuff. And so it's a challenge to me. And then I also got to put my money where my mouth is. It's, you know, okay, you should be working on this to get this together like this. And then I should be able to do that too, you know. So it's cool. I have that benefit too. You know, I find that as a reward. That's something that comes back to me. I was talking to Bill Stewart about this, and he had I was saying, you know, look, you know, because the way I learned, the way he learned mostly was playing with people, you know, people that were better than us, and the masters, and so unfortunately the whole environment's shifted. Everyone that has played this and invented this is pretty much gone, almost, you know. I'm an echo. I'm a faint echo from, you know, who I think is like seminal, you know, foundational cats that know what's going on, you know. I have my big ideas, you know, so it's an echo in a sense. But he was saying, I was saying, so what can the students now do? These poor guys and girls don't have this kind of experience to temper them, to go through, to learn this in this way, the way we did, which I think is the best way, I think. And he said, well, first they just got to be fans, you know, is the thing, I think. And I can see it, you know, the fan, the passion, the enthusiasm is the thing that generates the search instead of, you know, just a curiosity. It's not just a curiosity. It's more of a necessity, a hunger, you know, a necessity. And the students that have that, now we can get to some stuff, you know. Instead of the ones that come and say, okay, show me something. You know, man, okay, try this. Drum roll, not impressed? Okay, you know, or lifting up your arm and letting it fall down? Okay, you're not ready, I understand. So why don't you leave and come back later? You know, it's funny. So, I gotta say, and it's kind of sad that it comes to my mind, but often the question is, I feel like asking is like, why are you doing this? You know, how can, what are you doing? You're wasting your time and money in this thing that's doesn't seem to be such a need, you know. It's just like something that could be fun or cool. I'm no, you know, angel of a sort or pure of intent, but man, I never thought about like making a record, like having a record deal or having a band, or I just wanted to play with guys that were better than me. Yeah. You know, it's like I said, you know, honestly, it's just that. I'm a total fan, you know, I love it. Why? Because it's so friggin' fun and high, you know, it's really high. Tommy Flanagan asked me once, he says, why are you playing? You know, I had nothing. It's like, oh man, Tommy, please, you know. No, man, why are you playing? Why are you playing? But I know now, and it's that I need to hear the drums sound like that. That's why that's why I'm playing what I'm playing, you know. The other part is it just fills me, you know. It's so fulfilling. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know what I'd say to myself. Maybe, you know, practice more. Just like my dad said, you know. I'd be my dad. I'd come back and say, make sure you practice. Now, if I could relate to myself knowing that 16-year-old self knows that it's me the same in the future, from the future, I might listen to myself, and then I would tell him to really work on some basics, because I really started late with that. That, you know, that's one thing. But the rest is not so, you know, it's okay. I have, up till now, it's just been a really, really good trip. Really, really great trip. I am so honored to have the resume, you know, that I have. I wish it was bigger, but it's really great. It's really great. But I think if I had that extra, maybe a better work ethic in a sense, you know, instead of just having a good time, having a ball, you know. But then I don't know.